It was a changing of two-way bigs as the Grizzlies end up waiving Trey Jemson. They have signed Jay Huff to a two-way. Here are some Jay Huff highlights from last season. There has been a Jay Huff hive, if that is a thing, who believes that Jay Huff is a big who has legitimate playing opportunity in the NBA. He spent last season with the Grand Rapids Gold in the G League, averaged 18 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 62% from the field, 42% from three, averaged 3 blocks. Back in 2023, he was the G League Defensive Player of the Year. I said the name Jay Huff on the show last week. I said, thank God the Grizzlies didn't lose to the Orlando Summer League Magic on a Jay Huff three-point shot, because that would have killed me in their game against the Magic. And Devin Walker and I sat there watching Summer League All-Star Jay Huff, who's in his 5th Summer League. He was on the 2019 Virginia National Championship team. Continue on in that Summer League journey. He's 7'1". He's big. I think he is a offensive plus based on what Trey Jemson was. Trey Jemson could set screens. Trey Jemson could get rebounds. Offensively, maybe left a little bit to be desired. Jay Huff can fill into that role, and he's a stretch big. So now you have a change of the 5th member of your front court if you're the Memphis Grizzlies in the two-way play of Jay Huff. He played for Jay Wright, so you know he's going to play defense. You know he's going to fit into that side of the defensive culture. But we will see what the future looks like for Jay Huff. I just cannot believe that it was just last week. Like, do you think the Grizzlies watched Jay Huff get the better of the Trey Jemson matchup in the Grizzlies Magic Las Vegas Summer League game and said, we want that one? We want that one.
Absolutely, among other things. This is what the front office does. This is what they do well. It is, all right, we'll bring this guy in here on a two-way deal. And you have to do this well if you are a small market team. We'll bring this guy in on a two-way deal, get a good, long, hard look at him. And if things pan out, great. If they don't, send him on his way. We'll go out there and get another guy. And we'll just keep doing this and keep trying to find these diamonds in the rough, so to speak. And the front office, as it pertains to moves on the margins, this is how they've decided to go about making them. Trying to lure free agents to Memphis is hard to do. Trying to get them to just come and sign without some type of a trade or something like that happening is really, really hard for this franchise to do. So if you're going to make moves on the fringes, how are you going to have to go about doing it? Well, you're going to have to go about doing it via the draft. That's one way. And, well, who has time to wait on dudes 3-4 years to develop when you're in win-now mode today? Or you can go to the G League and say, hey, who's popping off in the G League? All right, that person has a skill set that we might be able to use. Is he on a two-way? Drat, he is. What about this person? Nope, cool, bring him in. Let's take a look at him. That's how they got Trey Jemson. That's how they got Scottie Pippen Jr. That's how they've made these moves on the fringes, and they've been good at them up to this point. I look forward to seeing what Mr. Huff does, and maybe he can be a big that gets significant playing time. Maybe, but I'm not sure what his skill set is. You're playing in Denver and on their G League team in Denver. I'm not really familiar with your game. I look forward to seeing how it plays out, though.
I'm not familiar with the game of Jay.
Listen,
the one game that I watched of Jay Wright, he was cooking. Like, he was actually...
Huff, all white people don't look alike.
What did I call him?
Right.
Oh, well, that's because in the chat I realized that I called Tony Bennett Jay Wright. So I'm all over. Mixing my coaches up.
White people.
You're in my head. You're in my head.
That's a terrible place to be.
No, but I do think from a standpoint of like Grizzlies utilizing their two-way contracts, they're in a really good situation right now with their two-way contracts, right? Like, you know what you have in Scottie Pippen Jr. and somebody who is forcing the conversation of, is this your backup point guard of the future? You saw really great flashes in Cam Spencer, one of your second-round picks from this year, and now you have Jay Huff, and you are searching to fortify that front court depth, because that has been one of the biggest identifiable keys of the offseason is how do we ensure that we have the right front court matchups? And going on early in next season, like, I would assume that we'll see quite a bit of variety with those front court matchups. And now, rather than Trey Jemson, someone that the Grizzlies saw last year, my favorite Trey Jemson memory of all time, well, I guess I'll take two. What was your favorite Trey Jemson moment within the Memphis Grizzlies? One, he gave great flexes because he looked like a football player, but he would give great flexes after he would throw down a dunk or have like
built like a defensive end.
Built like a defensive end. Can't wait. I saw somebody say yesterday we'll see him in the UFL next year. Maybe he can play for the Memphis Showboats. They're always looking for new talent, fresh talent. But that moment, and then he carried Zaire Williams off the court. He went like full Prince Charming, save the day mode when Zaire had his injury there late in the season that kept Zaire Williams from being able to take advantage of the latter half of the season or the latter third of the season where maybe he could have gotten more reps. Trey Jemson like scooped him up in his arms and carried him off the court. And I was like, good dude, Trey Jemson. I also had a friend who worked in Birmingham where he played at UAB, and she would always say that he was just the nicest human being. And when he was playing here, the number of friends and family that came to watch Trey Jemson play in Memphis, who made the drive over from Birmingham, was always nice to see. So we will now exist in a world where Trey Jemson goes elsewhere. Jay Huff, welcome to Memphis. I like the last name Huff. Jay Huff. Simple. Two single syllables. Jay Huff. Jay Huff? No? Nothing? Silence.
The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt, live every weekday at 8 a.m.